podcasters. It is season 20 in Diablo 3, and in this video I will be going over the top pushing build for greater rifts in um, the seasonal leaderboards. As of current, the Hydra Wizard push build, which is a Legacy of Dreams um, gear set for this build, is currently the top build for Wizard. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to go over the skills and your passives and your cubed items first, and then we'll go over the gear and go from there. So, starting off, as I'm sure you can tell, you run Hydra for this build as it's in the name. So with the skills, we're going to be running Black Hole, Spell Steal, Arcane Torrent with Static Discharge, Hydra with Mammoth Hydra, Magic Weapon with Deflection, Explosive Blast with Chain Reaction, Storm Armor with Power of the Storm, and then for our passives, we're running Audacity, Unstable Anomaly, Elemental Exposure, and Galvanizing Ward. And for the cubed items, we're running Serpent's Sparker, Halo of Tyranny, Orb of Infinite Depth. Now, as usual, your rings could be swapped out with ones that you currently have equipped. Same with weapons and offhand items. Usually, anyway, sometimes there's ones that you can and cannot do, but that usually depends on if the weapon that is in the cubed thing is a two-handed or a one-handed. Because the offhand one you have equipped might be important to have equipped, and if you have a two-handed weapon equipped, you can't have an offhand equipped. So it's better to put the two-handed into the cube if you don't run a two-handed as an equipped weapon. Now, going over to our gear, speaking of weapons, this build runs a Death Wish with arcane damage, percent damage, intelligence for the augmentation, attack speed, crit hit damage, and then this also runs an Emerald in the socket. Death Wish, while channeling Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost for at least 1 second, all damage is increased by 325%. For our gauntlets, we'll be running Tasker and Theo. This will have Intel, Attack Speed, Crit Hit Damage, Crit Hit Chance, Intel from Augmentation. Tasker and Theo increases attack speed of your pets by 50%. For our shoulders, we'll be running Mantle of Channeling with Intel, Vitality, Intelligence from Augmentation. Mantle of Channeling, while channeling Whirlwind, Rapid Fire, Strafe, Tempest Rush, Fire Bats, Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost for at least 1 second, you deal 25% increased damage and take 25% reduced damage. For our chest piece, we'll be running the Aquila Curse with Intel, Vite, Intel from Augmentation, and Topaz in the sockets, which will boost the Intel modifier. This also has Hydra damage for a reroll. If you don't get that, you can look for one of the other ones on your reroll. Aquila Curse, while above 90% primary resource, all damage taken is reduced by 50%. For our helmet, the Magistrate, Intel, percent life, crit hit chance, crit hits grant 4 arcane power, and Intel from Augmentation with maximum arcane power. That comes from the Amethyst in the helmet socket. The Magistrate, your Hydras now periodically cast Frost Nova and deal 300% increased damage. For the necklace, we're running Squirt's Necklace with fire skill damage, crit hit chance, Intel from Augmentation, and in the socket, we're running a Bane of the Trapped. Squirt's Necklace with the socketed effects, increase damage against enemies under the effects of control impairing effects by 54%. That increases depending on the level of your socketed legendary gem. Gain an aura that reduces the movement speed of enemies within 15 yards by 30%, And while not taking damage, damage dealt is increased by up to 100%, and damage taken is increased by up to 50%. Sorry, my headset there disconnected for a moment. For our bracers, we're running Ashnagar's Blood Bracer with fire skill damage, intel, vitality, crit hit chance, intel from augmentation, and Ashnagar's Blood bracers, losing my speech here, increases the potency of your shields by 100%. For our offhand, we'll be running Etched Sigil with damage, intel, crit hit chance, crit hits grant 4 arcane power, and intel from augmentation. This will also have maximum arcane power and Hydra damage, if you're lucky to get all these stats maxed out. This is also a primal, so we're looking at some pretty beefy stats here for what this thing has. Like, perfect roll. Etch Sigil, while channeling Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost for at least 1 second, the damage of your arcane power spenders is increased by 150%, and you can also cast one of your other damage arcane power spenders every second. For our first ring, we'll be running Unity, which Unity is usually ran in combination with a companion that you're running the solo Greater Rift with. This isn't necessarily something you run for a group Greater Rift. You'd be switching this out for something else usually, but for solo pushing, this is amazing. This will have crit hit damage, crit hit chance, intel from augmentation, and damage to elite enemies from that as well. Now, Unity and Legacy of Dreams is our socketed gem. All damage taken is split between wearers of this item. That's the effect from Unity. This bonus is doubled for ancient items. While you have no set bonuses equipped, every legendary item you have equipped increases your damage dealt by 375% and reduces your damage taken by 2%. For our secondary ring, we'll be running Convention of Elements, as usual with most builds. Intel, crit hit damage, crit hit chance, intel from augmentation, and a Enforcer legendary gem socketed into it. Increase the damage of your pets by 51%. That, again, is affected by the level of the gem. Your pets take 90% less damage. You gain 200% increased damage to a single element for 4 seconds. This effect rotates to the element available to your class in the following order: Arcane, Cold, Fire, Holy, Lightning, Physical, and Poison. For our boots, it'll be the Illusory boots with Intel, Vitality, Resist all elements, Armor, Intelligence from augmentation, and the gold for monsters isn't exactly important, but it is there. In Illusory boots, you may move unhindered through enemies. This is amazing for builds that aren't exactly tanky, which means they can run through enemies and run through barrier walls that the enemies will put up, and it gives you a lot more ability to maneuver and escape from enemies that you can't handle with your skills being on reset or something like that. For our pants, we'll be running Swampland Waders with fire skill damage, intel, vitality, armor, intel from augmentation. Swampland Waders, sacrifice deals 309% additional damage against enemies affected by Locust Swarm or Grasp of the Dead. However, you mainly run these pants for the fire skill damage. The Witch Doctor effect is only for Witch Doctor, so that has nothing to do with the wizard itself. But a lot of people have been running these because of fire skill damage percent. And finally, for our belt, we'll be running the Witching Hour with Intel, Vitality, Attack Speed, Crit Hit Damage, Intel from Augmentation, and the other two effects are not necessarily important. It's just golden health pickup radius and the level requirement is reduced, but I mean, it's a primal. You kind of I mean, if you get one, you kind of got to deal with the crap stat if you have other amazing stats on it. But anyway, that covers everything for the Hydra Wizard push build for Season 20. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments, and I will do my best to explain anything for you. I'll be doing videos like this for all the other builds throughout the season, and try to keep you guys updated on if anything changes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the subscribe if you like this video, and if you like this video, hit the like button. I really appreciate it, and it helps me create more of these videos for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.